Good morning, Stampers. This is Kathy Hansen, and today I'm going to show you the card that we made for Crazy Card Chics Card Kits to Go yesterday. So this is the card. If you look a little more closely, you can see at a certain angle that there's a lot of glimmer in there. I have to get the right tilt on it for you to see, but the stars and the Celebrate are glitter paper. And then on the inside, it's Happy 4th of July. This, if you have the kit and you're making this card and you don't want to use the 4th of July greeting, you can flip that paper over and use the other side for instance, a birthday greeting. So that's the card, and let's take a look at how to make it. These are all the pieces parts that I put in the kit. If you don't have the kit and you like this card and want to make it, I will have all of the materials lists, including the measurements, on my blog at kathyscraftroom.blogspot.com. So you can, rather than having to write it all down as I'm telling you, you can go there and get all of these measurements and the ingredients list. So let's start with the inside. These are all the pieces parts for the front right here. I'm going to kind of just push these aside as I work on the inside of the card. Okay, so first of all, the base of the card is some of these materials are from Stampin' Up, others are from my stash. So this paper is Stampin' Up Poppy Parade, and it's a beautiful bright red. It's not a true red, but it's kind of it's brighter than the real red. And I wanted a really nice bright card for this. So I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to make this a nice crisp crease. This is 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4 inches. So for the inside, I have a piece of white cardstock, and I used a lighter weight cardstock for this card because it has so many layers. I decided I could lighten it up just slightly by using a lighter weight cardstock. So this is actually 65-pound white cardstock, and it is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. I forgot that I had that icky roller in here. The tape refill that's in here is not rolling quite right, so I may switch that out here in just a second. This will fit right into the inside of the card. Then I have a piece of, this is also Stampin' Up paper, and the color is Starry Sky, and the measurement for this is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. I wanted just a very narrow white margin with that bottom piece of cardstock. So that's going to be about a 1/16 of an inch margin all the way around. Then I have the Happy 4th of July, and I actually generated this on my computer. I found an image online that I liked, and I copied it onto my computer and printed it. So this, again, if you want to use the other side and put Happy Birthday, if you want a patriotic card of any kind, you can just flip it over and use the other side. But for this one, I am going to make it the 4th of July. The Happy 4th of July. You can even hear it. It sounds kind of bumpy as you're going along with that tape runner. And that piece is 4 7/8 inches by 3 5/8 inches. Then I have these two strips. I cut this from the main paper on the front. I had scraps, so I just cut these from the scraps, and I wanted to have a little bit of a decoration on the inside, so I cut these so that they line up. You can see the design there, that it lines up from the bottom and the top. So then I could put the top piece on the top, the bottom piece on the bottom, and it almost looks like it goes together. You know what? I think I'm going to stop at this point, and I'm going to put in another tape refill. And I hope that it's not the cartridge that's messing up, but we'll find out in a minute. Luckily, it takes no time at all. The hardest part of this is opening up the packaging and then putting it in. It's very easy. Okay, ready to roll again. We'll try this one out. Oh, this is so much better. Very smooth movement on that one. Okay, so we determined that this is the top. Actually, I'm going to flip it around. I think I like it better this way. This will be the bottom piece, and that's going to fit right along the edge. This piece is 4 7/8 long by 3/8 inches wide. And then we'll put one at the top. And that is the inside of the card. Then moving on to the front of the card, we have the same measurements for the bottom 3 pieces of paper. So this piece again is 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches. And that's gonna, oh, this sounds so much better. I don't know what was wrong with that other tape roller, but it's been kind of making me crazy, and I forgot that when I started this video that I had planned on changing it before I did another one. So here is your bottom layer. The next layer again is 4 7/8 inches by, no, 5 1/8 inches by 3 7/8 inches. So this is 5 1/8 across, and again we'll have that narrow 1/6 I need more coffee. 1/16, I still can't say it. 1/16 of an inch around the edge. Okay, and then this is the piece that's 4 7/8 inches by 3 5/8 inches going from top to bottom. And this is actually paper from the Paper Studio that I was able to find for this card, and I really kind of liked it. Which way do I want that? I think I'll go this direction. I can have a star right up there in the front. And this one has the 1/8 of an inch margin all the way around when you center it on the card. Okay, so there's the base of the card front. Then I have the Celebrate. In this Celebrate, I found some paper. It's called Recollections, and it is, what is it called? It's called, this is great stuff. It's a 65-pound weight, so it's a little bit thinner, and it is, well, it's paper that goes through your printer. It's got a certain name, but it's glimmer paper. You can see, well, maybe you can't. It's hard to see in this light. There's nothing reflecting the glimmer, but it is glimmer paper. It's got sparkles in it, and it is a thin enough weight that I was able to run it through my Big Shot with this die. And this die, by the way, is a retired Stampin' Up! Die called Celebrate You. So I'm going to attach that with liquid glue. A few little dots of liquid glue here and there will hold it in place. And I'm going to attach that to the next layer. The next layer is the Starry Sky again, and for the Starry Sky and the layers below it, I scanned one. I punched this out in black. I scanned it into my Scan and Cut, and then I increased the border to cut each of these layers. So this particular border is 3 millimeters around the outside edge of the Celebrate, and then I cut one in white, so I have red, white, and blue. I cut one out of white that's 5 millimeters, so it's just a couple of millimeters larger than the blue, and again I'm attaching it with liquid glue, so I can just put that right over. And it had, when I was cutting the pieces on the Scan and Cut, it put in a couple of little extra little jags and sharp points on there, but I kind of liked the look of that because it's not perfect, it's a little messy, and I'm kind of a messy kind of a guy, and this background is kind of messy, so to me it all seemed to fit together. And then the bottom layer is again the Poppy Parade that we used for the card base, and this was 7 millimeters margin width. So we've got this nice matted Celebrate to put on the front of the card. You could put it at an angle if you like. I put mine straight because, I don't know, sometimes I'm a little boring that way. I don't know, I kind of like it at an angle too, but I'm going to go ahead and put it on straight again just because I can. And I used some of this foam tape to attach it to the card, and I put 2 strips of it because I don't, one strip would hold it on there, but 2 strips will make sure that it doesn't wobble up and down. So that's why I always put 2 strips, and I have a ton of this stuff, so I figure why not. So this is the Celebrate. I'm going to pop it up just a little bit with the foam strips. And then I'm just going to put that here on the front. Yeah, maybe this looks a little more festive. Okay, so we put that at an angle there. And then I can close up my liquid glue. I have some more Recollections red glitter paper, and that's what I used for this star. I used some Stampin' Up! Retired star punches from my stash to punch out these 2 stars. So the larger one is this really old punch, star punch, and then the smaller one is this more recent star punch. And I tried using liquid glue to put these 2 together, but the liquid glue, you can see the sparkle a little bit more on the red than you can on the white, but they're both very sparkly. The liquid glue didn't seem to hold it very well, so I put these stars together with some glue dots, and that seemed to work much better. So I just put the glue dot on the back of the white star, and then I centered that onto the red star. You could maybe put it at an angle too, but I kind of liked it this way. So this is what I did. But again, you know, if you ever remake my cards, if you use my designs, I really encourage you to be creative and put in your own touches on it, because it's fun to create your own cards. I often, for my classes, will see a design online that I like, but I very rarely use the design exactly the way I see it, because as I'm putting it together, I always have a little few tweaks that I want to do here and there. For these stars, I also wanted to pop them up, so I used these hexagons because these are Stampin' Up! Stampin' Dimensionals, because they are exactly the right size. They fit right into the center of that star. So that worked out pretty well. And I kind of wanted to put them randomly, so I'm going to put one down here. And then I'm going to find other places for the other 2 stars. Let's see. Do I want to put one here? Do I want to put one here? I think I'll do one there. and one more star, and maybe I'll just put it right here. Okay, so that's the finished card. Two different designs here. The one that I showed you originally, and then this one, one's straight, one is at an angle. You know what? I don't think I used my bone folder quite as heavily as I should have, because that card is still hanging open just a little bit. So let me try that again. There we go. Now it's staying flat. So these are the cards, the two different designs, and I hope you like this card and make it yourself. And happy 4th of July. It's coming right up in a few days.